Senator, you wrote a book called Our Presidents and Their Prayers. And I find this interesting. And by the way, I just started it. What I find interesting about it is the misconception of libertarian is that, libertarians are godless animals. And that's not true. And you can be, but you don't have to be. And to make society work, I believe our founders were libertarians, if you will, and many of them had a deep belief in God. Tell me about why you're writing this book.
Well, part of it's to correct misconceptions. And, I tell people I want you to be free to do anything you want, but I don't want you to do anything you can do. And so I think liberty requires virtue. I'm a big fan of Os Guinness's book where he talks about liberty requiring restraint, but the only restraint consistent with liberty is self-restraint.
By the way,
so
hang on, I have to tell you, I was speaking to a few pastors the other day, and I quoted you on that. And I said, can you guess the candidate that said that? And they said, Ben Carson, Mike Huckabee, Ted Cruz. And I said, Rand Paul. The room got really quiet, and you could hear the collective, wow. They were impressed that you are a fan of his.
And to me, though, it also separates us from sort of so many other revolutions that went awry. The French Revolution, they threw out the monarchy and tyranny, which we did too, but they threw out their religion because government and religion were the same thing. In our revolution, we kept the stability of self-governance. We had all our small local bodies. The House of Burgess had been meeting for 150 years. We didn't get rid of self-governance, but we also didn't get rid of our religious faith and tradition. And so I think we get too caught up in contemporary times talking about separation of church and state that we misunderstand it such that, it's no big deal if we have a bunch of hoodlums with no beliefs running our country. No, it actually is very important that your government can't cure all social ills and can't make you a good person. Government can't save you, but doesn't mean we shouldn't have people who believe in salvation, who believe in goodness and virtue and right and wrong in government. If you don't have those people and you don't have that throughout the conscience of the public, you've got a disaster. You can't have a free society if you don't have virtue.
You talk about George Washington's his inaugural address, and he took everybody down the street to the church, and for hours they prayed, and he made a covenant as a nation. Do you recognize that covenant that we made, that George Washington made for us on behalf of the American people?
Absolutely, but I think it has to be renewed every generation, and really every person has to renew that and believe that there is something special about the Constitution, something special about the founding of the country, but every generation has to do it, and we're in the midst of something, and I know you've talked about sort of cultural, societal problems where we've sort of given up on knowing right and wrong, but also given up on knowing the incredible fulfilling nature of work and employment. And we've got to start renewing that. And what some people think, when I talk to a lot of pastors and they look to government and they're like, we're trying to choose which one of you is going to rescue the country. And I say, look, I'm looking at you because the government can't do everything. We need pastors talking about, why it's important to wait to have kids before you're married, why marriage is an important sacrament. It can't all come from government. And so I think some of it's which direction we look in. Can government cure all our problems? Libertarians want good people in government, want religion to be part of our founding and part of our country, but we don't all believe that government can make you a better person.